Hello and welcome. Having analyzed data from literally thousands of properties, I can tell you something really interesting. The most successful hotels, they all have one thing in common, a rock-solid understanding of strategic asset management. So I'm absolutely thrilled to guide all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, through the essentials of this incredibly important field. We're going to dive in together and really explore how to build lasting, enduring value in the hotel industry. Okay, so to really get our heads around asset management, we're going to follow a clear path. Think of it as our roadmap for today. First up, we'll start by figuring out what value actually means for a hotel. Then, we'll tackle the big one, the capital-intensive reality of this business, and see how you can measure a hotel's worth. After that, we'll get into the smart stuff, investing for the future. And it all leads to the grand finale, aligning everything the hotel does with what the owners actually want. All right, let's kick things off with the most important idea of all. Seriously, before we even touch on strategy or numbers, we have to make a big mental shift. A hotel, it's not just a building with rooms, right? It's so much more. It's a living, breathing, long-term financial asset. And that means every single decision, from the front desk to the back office, has to be seen through that one lens. Is this growing and protecting the hotel's value? So what does asset management really mean when you get down to it? Well, you can think of it as the master plan for making a hotel as valuable as possible. It's this ongoing cycle of three key things. First, you've got to keep the physical property in top shape. Second, you have to be constantly pushing to get the best financial performance. And third, and this is the big one, you have to make absolutely sure that every little thing you do operationally lines up with the owner's big picture financial goals. And this quote from Europe Hotel School London, it just nails it. It says, asset management is the critical interface. And that's exactly what it is. It's the bridge. Imagine on one side of a river, you've got the crazy, fast-paced world of daily hotel operations. The front desk, housekeeping, F&B, all of it. And on the other side, you've got the owners, and they're focused on one thing, the return on their investment. The asset manager is the one standing right in the middle of that bridge, making sure the traffic flows smoothly between both worlds. Okay, so now you might be wondering, why is this so important? Why is asset management something we have to get right in the hotel world? Well, it all boils down to one simple, unavoidable fact. Hotels are incredibly capital intensive. They just drink money. They need a huge, constant stream of investment just to keep the lights on, never mind actually growing and succeeding. And we're not talking about a one-and-done kind of investment. Oh no, it's a constant battle on multiple fronts. Just think about it for a second. The building itself needs constant upkeep. The stuff guests actually see and touch, the furniture, the fixtures, it all gets worn out and looks dated. Technology, that's a treadmill that never stops, from your property management system to the Wi-Fi. And then you have the brand itself, which is always demanding updates to stay fresh. It really is a never-ending cycle of putting money back into the property. And because of this, every hotel leader faces this really tough and honestly very tempting choice. It is so easy to say, you know what, let's just push that big renovation off for another year, or we can live with that old software for a little longer. Why? To make the numbers look better right now. But that's the short-term view. The real question, the one we have to ask, is what's the true cost of kicking that can down the road? What's the hidden price we'll pay later? And here you can see the two paths, clear as day. It's like a fork in the road. Go one way, defer maintenance, and yeah, you might save some cash in the short term, but it's a trap. It almost always leads to this downward spiral where guests get unhappy, your reputation suffers, and the value of your hotel just tanks. But if you take the other path, strategic upkeep, it costs more upfront for sure, but it creates this amazing upward cycle. Your brand gets stronger, you can charge more, and you end up building an asset that's actually worth more over time. So if we're all about growing value, we need a way to measure it, right? You can't manage what you can't measure. And that brings us perfectly into our next section, hotel valuation. This is the toolbox asset managers use to put a real number on the impact of all their hard work and decisions. So what is hotel valuation? Put simply, it's the process of figuring out what a hotel is actually worth. And it's not just a wild guess, it's a calculated estimate, kind of like a recipe with three key ingredients. You need to know its potential to make money in the future, what's going on in the market around it, and, of course, the actual physical condition of the property. Now, there are a bunch of ways to do this, but a really common one is called the income-based approach, and we can boil it down to three simple steps. Step 1, you project how much money the hotel is going to make in the future. Step 2, you take a hard look at what the market is doing. Is the local economy booming or busting? And finally, step 3, you put those two pieces together. You look at those future earnings, factor in the market, and that gives you a pretty solid estimate of what the hotel is worth today. Okay, so we know what the hotel's worth. Now for the fun part. How do we make it worth more? This leads us straight to the engine room of value creation, strategic investment. In the biz, we call it capital expenditure, or just CapEx. And that CapEx money gets spread around to some really key areas. We're talking about the big ticket items. Things like renovating all the guest rooms, which, has a massive impact on what guests think, or upgrading your tech to make everything run smoother. Even things like sustainability projects that might not seem flashy but can save a ton of money on operating costs down the line. Each one of these is like a different lever you can pull to crank up the value of the property. And here's the most important thing to remember about CapEx. It's not just about fixing things that are broken. That's maintenance. This is strategic investment. Every dollar you spend has to be weighed. It's a balancing act. On one side of the scale, you have the cost, and on the other, you have the potential return. And I don't just mean more cash in the register. I'm talking about strengthening your brand, making guests happier, and getting a leg up on your competition. It's a huge strategic puzzle. All right, this brings us to our final section, and this is where we tie everything together. All the stuff we've talked about, the upkeep, the valuation, the smart spending, it's all driving towards one ultimate goal. And that goal is perfect alignment. When you get right down to it, it's a pretty simple formula. The whole job of asset management is to create this unbreakable link, a link between running a fantastic hotel day in and day out, what we call operational excellence, and what the owners expect to get back from their investment. When you get that connection just right, when it's totally seamless, what do you get? A hotel that's not only super profitable, but is also a true leader in its market. Look, if there is only one thing you remember from our time together today, please let it be this. All the little things we do in a hotel, every single guest interaction, every perfectly clean room, every smooth check-in, all of that stuff we call operational excellence, it's not just about making today a good day. It is the absolute engine that creates, protects, and grows the hotel's value for years and years to come. So, I'm going to leave you with one final thought to carry with you. As you go out there and build your careers, as you become the next generation of leaders in this incredible industry, I want you to constantly ask yourself this one question. The decisions you're making, whether they feel big or small, they have ripples. They have a lasting impact. So challenge yourself. Don't just think about this week or this quarter. Think about the enduring value you're building for 10 years from now. Thank you.